Paving this shit crank.
Hey you guys, I want to talk about this subject. It's kind of a touchy subject, and I think it's one that need to be had. And some of the things that I'm going to read, I'm going to speak my opinion as I go along, because I know people in my personal life that has been a victim of domestic violence, and I saw what happened to these people and how they were afraid to leave because of various reasons. One, it could be financial, the children, the person may threaten to harm your family, or, they have broken your self-esteem down so badly to the point where you feel like you have no choice but to accept the abuse. And a lot of people have opinions and make comments, and until you are actually placed in that position, you really cannot speak for anybody else. It's easier for you to say, well, you should have left, when you've never been placed in a situation that's extremely dangerous, or you don't know what this person is capable of doing. This person could kill you on the spot, and then there goes the end of your life story. So for all of you that are suffering domestic violence in any capacity, my heart truly goes out to you, and I pray to God that you can find someone that will help you and not be a hindrance, and not try to solve the problem, but help you and usher you and pray you through the problem. So I'm gonna get into this story, because sometimes I think, I have a little thing with Gayle King. I'm not gonna say anything negative about her, but if she's never been in a domestic violence relationship, she really shouldn't be speaking. And another thing, she should really do her homework and visit and be a part of whatever environment that she's going to interview, so that she can be more sympathetic. So let's get into this story, you guys, because it really disturbed me when I was reading this. And again, I may jumble up my words, but forgive me, because I'm in between trying to read this story and making sure my little champion don't get into any mischief while I'm reading. So let's go with it, okay? Gayle King asked FKA Twigs, "Why didn't you leave?" Her question is part of the problem, and it really is. That's not something that you ask a person that's being abused. FKA Twigs refused to answer it. The dangerous question we can't seem to stop asking survivors of domestic violence: why didn't you leave? Like I said, there were a number of factors why she probably couldn't leave. We never know. We were not there with her. When Gayle King posed the question during a CBS interview with Twigs on Thursday, her first television interview since filing a lawsuit against her ex-boyfriend Shia LaBeouf, I think that's how you say his name, alleging severe abuse. It seemed she knew it was wrong, though it ultimately did not stop her. "I often wonder if it's even appropriate to ask," King said. Like I said, I think she should have probably went and visited a place where women are survivors of domestic violence. Then that question that she asked wouldn't have been so harsh and abrupt, the way it came out of her mouth. A lot of times these people interview for views and clicks and likes and whatever, and they're not sensitive. I'm not going to go and ask a child that has been molested, well, why didn't you tell your mom? Because the simple fact, we don't know the dynamics that were surrounding that child abuse. We don't know who the perpetrator was. We don't know what the perpetrator may have said to that child. We don't know anything. So we need to be careful when we kind of ask judgmental questions, and that's what I call it, is a judgmental question. It's not just a question, it's a basic question where you have a judgment in it. So I call it a judgmental question. Okay, domestic violence experts say not only is the question inappropriate, As I said, it harms survivors by shifting attention away from their abuser. And that's another thing. Experts say many survivors don't leave when the abuse began, and people often quick to judge them when a which is a factor in why many survivors stay silent. And like I said, you guys, people don't know the circumstances. And forgive me for my words that I'm tripping over. Like I said, I'm trying to make sure my little champion don't get into stuff, and he's a little busy beaver. Okay, let me go down here. When we ask why didn't you leave, we're making the victim responsible for the harm that's been done to them, said Ruth Glenn, president of the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And I can agree with that, because it's like, okay, why didn't you leave? Okay, then why would he keep hitting me? Why would he put his hands on me? Why don't he stop hitting me? That's the question. What is his problem where he feels like he has to use physical violence against me when he doesn't get his way? That's the question that needs to be asked to the abuser, not to the victim. In the interview, Twigs, born, I think it's Talila DeBrett Barnett. That's cute. Attempts to shift focus back on LeBroff. Thank you. I'm glad she did that. That's good. That's good. See, because that was out of pocket. And I'm glad that another expert spoke up. I think we have to stop asking that question, she told King. The question should really be about the abuser. Why are you holding someone hostage with abuse? People say it can't have been that bad because I'll just add my words in, or else you would have left. But it's like, no, it's because it was that bad. I couldn't leave. And see, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the circumstances. You don't know what he said to her. And we have to stop, passing our own judgment and stop judging situations we know nothing about. Yeah, you may have had a family member that may have been strong enough, or you yourself may have been a survivor that was strong enough to get out. And what we have to stop doing, everybody is not the same. It's like I tell the doctors, just because I have an underlying medical condition and you treated 7 people with the same technique, that doesn't mean that same technique is going to work for me. I'm a totally different person. We're all separate individual people, so you can't put everybody in one box and tape it up and ship it off. We have to really stop, with the judgmental questions and making our own assumptions, And I'm speaking a little bit more because it's not fair to those people that are being abused. You're trying to blame them while the domestic violence is happening. No, you can't blame them. You need to focus and shift the blame on the abuser. I don't care if he's beating on her. Don't look at her like you're stupid. And I've heard people say, "Oh, you stupid. Why are you staying? Why are you staying with him?" Okay, so let's flip the roles. And I know that I'm taking a pause on this before I read it. Let's flip the script. Let's say you're in a relationship with a guy and everything goes well and you fall in love, and he's so deeply in love when you see a lot of movies and stories like this, and he just showers you with everything. And one day you say something, and you're not being nasty, aggressive. You just said something that he did not agree with, and he slaps the dog pee-pee out of you. And then he apologizes, and you're like, "No, I'm going to leave." And he grabs you by your throat. You don't have time to grab a weapon. We always talk about, "I would do this and I would do that. If he hit me, I would do this." And you don't know what you're going to do. If that man hits you so hard that he knocks you to the ground or knock you out cold, when you come to, you're confused, you're scared, and you don't know. If this man can use this much force to knock me out cold, the next time he could possibly kill me. And that is the one thing that you're going to be thinking of. And if you have a plan in action that if this man hits me again, when he sleep, I'm going to bounce out. And I'm going to make sure that nobody knows. And a lot of times women are being abused that have children as well. So it's hard. We saw the story about what's love got to do with it. That story was so hard. It was hard for me to watch. Because this woman really tried to stick with her promise and told this man, "I will never leave you." But it came to a point where she could no longer take it. She had to find strength from whatever God she served. but she found a way out. Most women don't make it out. So we need to stop with the judgmental questions. We need to stop telling people, you need to do this and you need to do that. No. If you have not been trained in the area of any area like drug addiction, prostitution, domestic abuse, sexual assault, any of these areas and other areas that goes with it, if you have no counseling, shut your mouth and be a support system and pray for that person. Try to help that person. Don't tell them what to do, because all you're going to do is frustrate the situation and make them more afraid, and they're going to run back to the abuser. So do your best. Keep your mouth shut. Try to be a support system. If they're ranting and raving, you sit down and you take mental notes. You call the domestic violence hotline and you talk to your friend and see if you can get them a way out of that situation. You don't have to tell everybody that you did it. And if you help them, keep your mouth shut. You don't have to broadcast to the world, oh, I helped her do this and I helped her get out of that and I helped her. Just do it. Okay, let me get back to this. Domestic violence is a pervasive social problem that cuts across race, age, income, sexual orientation, religion, and gender. In terms of both victims and predators, 3 in 1 women has experienced intimate partner violence, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Mental health issues often emerge after repeated escalating abuse. Victims of emotional abuse are at higher risk of developing mental health disorders, including depression and PTSD. So these are some of the issues that these people are faced with after this heinous act against them. This question so often comes from a place of concern. As FKA Twigs pointed out in the interview with Gayle King, but it so often makes survivors feel like it is their responsibility to make the abuse stop, said Deborah Vagans, president of the National Network to End Domestic Violence. Abuse is an international pattern of controlling behavior, and the only person who can make the abuse stop is the person responsible for choosing to abuse in the first place. Exactly as I said. So we want to blame the person for sticking around when it's the abuser. He's the one, she's the one that needs to help. That's the one that needs to stop it in the first place. Why we can't stop asking the question. Experts say the question keeps coming up because culturally we do not understand domestic violence. We ask because we are curious and because most predators don't admit to abuse. You got that right. We can ask them why they harmed. Abusers don't come forward and say, I abused my partner. We don't have the opportunities to question them, Glenn said. The only person we have to question is the person who has been harmed, and so often we end up blaming the victim. We can't help ourselves, and that's really unfortunate. And that's what I was talking about, you guys. We want to blame the victim and the abuser. I have a friend of mine, she was being abused by her husband. And, family members knew that he had a hot temper. And so after the relationship, she went and sought counseling because she was really messed up behind it. And it may have been PTSD and depression that, she suffered from. But, she wanted him to come into counseling, and he agreed, because of his anger. But when they got to the part where she confronted him in counseling about his physical abuse, and she still very well had marks and pictures and, his arrest record and everything. He swore on everything that he loved that he was not an abuser. He wanted to uphold this good guy's mentality. And then, an abuser can, how do they say it? They can present themselves very well in front of other people, but it takes a skilled set person to look through that act of presenting yourself well and putting on a show. It takes a really good skilled person to see through the BS that they are trying to perpetrate. So with that being said, let me try to find this. Okay. Experts said King could have asked the question differently. Instead of saying, "Why didn't you leave?" something more productive could have been. Can you explain to our audience the tactics perpetrators use that make it so difficult to get out of an abusive relationship? Exactly. Exactly. That's why I say she's good to interview, but she doesn't know everything. So she really needs to watch how she's interviewing people. And then when she puts her foot in her mouth, there's always some representative that wants to hurry up and try to clear the air, or they don't want to speak on it. Oh, matter of fact, reps for King and CBS did not immediately return USA Today's request for a comment. Why survivors stay? The reason women choose to stay with an abusive partner are complex. Domestic violence advocates say, such as fearing for their lives or believing the abuser will go back to the way things were. Domestic violence advocate also says abuser often does not begin right away. Exactly, as I was saying, it could take time. And people be like, well, there were signs. You have some guys that are so good with it. And I can't remember this movie, and I'm going to speak on it, and maybe you can look it up. Taye Diggs is in it, and I forgot who the other lady was. She was married to this black guy, and he was really, really good to her. And they had a beautiful home, and they were at a business party of his, and one of the guys was talking to her. He was just talking to her, and one day he just got angry and said, "I saw you flirting with my coworker." She was like, "I wasn't flirting with your coworker." And he was like, "Yes, you were." And out of nowhere, he turned around and knocked the crap out of her. She was so shocked. She could not believe it, because he has never displayed any type of anger. And it was crazy. It was crazy. So, long story short, she ended up escaping from him, and she met Taye Diggs. She had the baby and they set up this thing to say that she got killed in a car accident. The husband believed it, and then certain things started going wrong, so he went back after her once he discovered that she had moved elsewhere and that she wasn't dead. He wanted to complete the job and kill her, but she ended up killing him. You have people like that where you will literally have to kill them because they take so much possession and feel like they have so much ownership over you. And I can't remember the movie. If I can remember the movie, I'm going to add it in the description box, okay? And those are good movies that you guys can watch and understand what people are saying, that it's not something that happens right away. It takes time. You could get married and be in love, and like 5 years down the road, everything is going good, and all of a sudden your husband one day, you'd say something like, he'll say, "Oh, something happened to this," and you go, "Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, no, I didn't do that." Or, "Do you like this?" "No, I don't like that." "What did you say?" You say, "Oh no, I didn't like that." Whop, knock you straight on the floor, and you didn't do anything wrong. No signs, nothing. You can never predict what a person would do. People keep saying, "Oh, there had to be signs." There had to be signs. If there were signs, I really believe that some of these women that did not know or did not have signs, I really believe that some of these women would have said, "No, I'm not about to deal with this." And the ones that saw the signs, we don't know what the situation was for them to continue to stay. So I'm not going to judge anybody. So let me go ahead. In her allegations against LaBeouf, Twiggs described a switch from an intense honeymoon period to something setting her partner off, like I said, which would then prompt LaBeouf to start an argument with me, berate me for hours. Oh my God, that must have been horrible. Make me feel like the worst person ever, she said. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't start right away. And I don't care what you say, it doesn't start right away. They have to master hiding those emotions. They have to master it in order to lure you in. And all this time you thinking that this person is like, you disagree with something, you have a conversation. No, I don't agree with that. I don't like that. And this guy is holding this stuff on his inside his stuff internally for a long period of time until one day he just can't do it no more and just crack you across your head. You know what I'm saying? So, in 2018, actress and activist Evan Rachel Wood shared her experience with domestic violence, saying it was toxic, mental, physical, and sexual abuse, which started slow but escalated over time. Exactly. So, to the people that's sitting there talking about, oh, no, they had to see something. Guess what? The man that you are with or the woman that you are with, they're treating you sweet right now, and one day they come home and just fire off on you. I want to hear your comments then. I want to see you or hear you tell me, oh, I didn't know he was going to do that. There was no signs. Then you can shut your mouth and kindly take a seat, you know. Abusers are skilled. Listen to this. Abusers are skilled at normalizing abuse and often using gaslighting, manipulating a victim to make them question their reality, to convince them the abuse isn't that bad or that they are actually the ones provoking it. That's crazy. Because I've heard, and I'm not going to say because I don't want to give the person away, and I've heard that, I said something out of line, and it made him mad. I just have to learn how to watch my mouth and stop being a smart mouth. I just have to learn how to this and that. First of all, you can say whatever you want to say, whenever you want to say, however you want to say, as nasty as you want to say it, as loud as you want to say it. No one still has the right to put their hands on you, point blank, period. No one. And then if you have someone threatening, well, if you say it, and if you keep talking this, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, you know what? If you need to control me that bad, then you need to go get you a dog. You need to go get you a cat. Because you should not be trying to control anybody. For those that believe in the Bible, that kind of behavior is stemmed by witchcraft and demonic possession. For those that don't believe, that is stemmed from anger and being selfish. And those are all disgusting to me. Let me read this again. Let me read this. Some survivors rely on their abuser for income, housing, health care, and other essentials. Many worry they aren't prepared to leave. Some hold out hope. Some hold out hope the abuser may eventually stop. No one experts say gets into a relationship to be harmed. Exactly. No one gets into a relationship for anyone to put their hands on anyone. If you even, like, that's why I say you got to have conversations also with the person, kind of schedule something in your dating time, be around their friends and family, and then when somebody says something out of pocket, or watch their behavior, get a little history. You don't have to go around like a spy, but kind of figure that person out and see how do they deal with anger. If you ever met the ex-girlfriend, if somebody that may have known the ex-girlfriend, let that person kind of say, hey, how was that person in the relationship? The ex-girlfriend may say, oh girl, he get mad, he'll punch you. That's your cue right there. Okay, if he got mad and punched her, and then you're dating him, and then he'll tell you a story. Oh yeah, my ex-girlfriend did this, and and she made me mad. Well, what did you do? Well, she hit me, so I punched her. You know what? I gotta go, because you know what? You're not telling me the truth. Any man that is like willing to hit a woman if she says something out of line, you gotta go. You get what I'm saying? Because he's gonna beat your behind eventually. So if you got a guy that does not believe in domestic violence, if you have a guy that you're dating or a girl that you're dating, whatever your flavor is, and that family is known to be fighters, honey, that's your cue to walk away. You don't need that kind of love. And I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm just saying, some people see the signs. Oh, I got me a bad boy. Those bad boys are they can be abusers too. Some of them may be good guys, but some of them can be abusers. And that's why I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming anybody. What my friend said is, I didn't think he would hit me because he never expressed that, but I listened to plenty of conversations that he had when he would express that, if somebody did certain things to him, homeboy wise in the street, what he would do. But she never thought that he was telling her, period, point blank. So let's go with this story. Some survivors, like I said, rely on their abuser for income, housing, health care, and other essentials. Many worry they aren't prepared to leave. Some hold out hope the abuser may eventually stop. No one, and see, that's what I'm saying. No one, and it stops there. Experts say, okay, no one, experts say, gets into relationships to be harmed. Okay. Many of us know what it's like to be in a relationship we thought was healthy, only to later on ask ourselves, why did I stay for so long, she said. And it says domestic violence myths, time to debunk them. I'm not about to read that. We're talking about something serious right now. The danger in leaving. Experts say domestic abuser is about power, like I spoke earlier. When often, I don't know why I say when often, forgive me, you guys. When a survivor leaves an abusive relationship, the perpetrator loses his power, which can cause them to retaliate in even more violent ways. When a survivor does leave, many of them fear for their lives and the lives of their children and loved ones. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, because you can have someone that wants to, take it out on your family, and I've seen movies like that, and I'm sure we've all seen movies like that. And I heard somebody say something that people write movies and they write songs and things of that nature based on real life stories. But we think that we're just watching a movie that just happened. These are movies that these people actually know of that happened in their lifetime, and they turned it into a movie, and they didn't say that it was a real movie. They just made it for, entertainment purposes. And so that's basically what I heard, and I was really like, wow, you know what? Now that I think of it, it is true. Okay, so let's go ahead. In 1992, months after Glenn left her abusive husband after 13 years of marriage, he tracked her down and shot her 3 times. See, this is what I'm saying. This is the danger of leaving. This is the danger of leaving. Leaving often does not cause the abuse to stop. In fact, many abusive partners choose to escalate their abusive behavior in response to what they perceive as a loss of power and control. Vagan said, for many survivors, leaving is not a safe or reasonable option, and in fact can often be increasingly dangerous. And this is the part that is so sad, because that's why when Gail asked that question, it kind of pissed me off, because you don't know what her situation was. You don't know. She's only telling you part of what she went through. She's not conveying every single thing that she went through. She tried to keep this interview at a level where people can tolerate it and not give you so many gruesome details. So I give her the most respect, because we don't know what she's going through. And for her to speak out, I'm glad that she's speaking out, because now it's bringing awareness, more awareness. I mean, it was bringing awareness before, but now it's being more brought out, because so for some reason I just really don't get it. Why does it take for a celebrity status person to talk about being abused before they really start moving on it. When you got thousands, hundreds of thousands of everyday people that are not in the Hollywood limelight that are getting their butts kicked and getting threatened, and the police don't really want to do anything and the courts don't want to do anything, but as soon as a celebrity, not saying that I'm not trying to be mean or nasty, you guys, so that's not what I'm trying to say, so please don't come and say, oh my God, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just merely saying, why does it take a celebrity status to be getting their butt kicked, and then they get all this media and all this, awareness going, when domestic violence on women have been going on for years and years and years? Why does it take something like that for somebody that is up in Hollywood to come out, or that's in the music industry to come out? I think that if it happens to anybody, that it should be highlighted and it should be taken very serious, okay? So this is my only issue with that. And I might have missed something, and they might have been doing it, but I haven't seen it to this magnitude. According to, so when what's her name? Oh my God, Tina Turner put that movie out. I think that there should have been a much stronger push after that movie for, these people that are doing domestic violence. I really do. And I think that if a neighbor calls in because they suspect domestic violence, or that man has beat on that woman, I really think not just send him to jail, but I think that they should send him to jail, and they should put him in an intensive program until he gets it, and then put him in situations where it could trigger him and see if he's learned anything. You get what I'm saying? And if you still see that aggressive nature in him, then you keep him there until he can learn. You'll know if he's lying or just faking the funk, because you will definitely, if you are an expert, you will know. I think that they should really switch some things around. It's my idea. If they hear it and they do it, I want my coins. Anyway, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 72% of murdered suicide involve an intimate partner, and 94% of the victims are females. Yes, because I've read some stories that I'm going to be releasing where the husband turned the gun on. It was a murder-suicide. He killed his woman, his children, and himself. And it's a few stories like that, and I had to take a break because it was so intense that it just really rattled me. But like I said, my story was supposed to be about domestic violence. I mean, not domestic, human trafficking and all those things. But I decided not to just do that. I need to bring awareness to what's going on around us, not just sex trafficking. There are other things that's going on around us, you guys, that are just as bad as sex trafficking, if not worse. Twig said she never thought something like this would happen to me. Part of the reason she said she's speaking out is to show that even someone like her, successful, financially independent, can be the victim of abuse. And yeah, that's true. I respect her for speaking out. I do. My second worst nightmare is being forced to share with the world that I am a survivor of domestic violence. Twigs wrote on Instagram in December, my first worst nightmare is not telling anyone and knowing that I could have helped even just one person by sharing my story. And I appreciate that from you, Twigs, and I pray that you get strength from this, and I pray that even you become an advocate for women with your platform and your status. So, and then here we go. If you are a victim of domestic violence, the National Domestic Violence Hotline allows you to speak confidentially with trained advocates online or by phone, which they recommend for those who think their online activity is being monitored by their abuser. Call 800-799-7233. They can help survivors develop a plan to achieve safety for themselves and their children. This article originally appeared on USA Today. Gail King asked FKA Twigs, why didn't you leave? Her question is part of the problem. And it truly, truly is a part of the problem. It really, really is. And I just want to say, you guys, please be safe. Please take care of yourself. You know, I'm definitely trying to get to 1,500 subscribers so that I can start going live and we can start talking together. We could do StreamYard and things of that nature, and we can talk about whatever topic comes up, because I would love to talk with you guys. If you guys could please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, you guys, and please try to help me get these people so we can start talking about topics that maybe many are not talking about. But until next story, you guys, you take care of yourself and you guys be safe, okay? Talk to you later. And you guys, if you've been affected by that storm, my heart goes out to you, and I pray that you will get into a safe place where you can get some help, okay? Reach out to me, and if you want to talk about it, hit me up on my email address at K, the number 8, the letter T, E, R, the number U, 2, excuse me, U, foundation@gmail.com. So it's cater to you foundation@gmail.com. You can share your stories with me there, and I can give you my opinion. Until next time, you guys, I thank you so very much for being patient with me. And as I continue to do these live streams, it will get better and better. I'm still kind of new at it, so you see me in my beginning stages. Thank you for rocking with a sister. Bye.